If you're preparing for CSEC English A in the future, check this video out. I just completed over 260 past paper questions from the discrete item section. The discrete item section is where CSEC assesses synonyms, antonyms, error recognition, equivalent sentences, and construction shift. These questions are very different from the reading comprehension questions, and they make up the first 25 questions on the CSEC past paper. So, if you're preparing for CSEC English A and you're not sure if you've done sufficient past papers, why not check this video out? I'm sure you'll find it useful. All right, so let's start with the antonyms section for paper 1 discrete items. So the instructions will always say, identify the word which is opposite in meaning to the one underlined in each sentence below. I'll read the question, read the answers, and then I'll give you about 5 seconds to answer each question. You can always pause the video between the questions so that you have time to catch up. Section 1, answers and explanations for antonyms found across a variety of CSEC Paper 1 past papers. The instructions for the antonyms sections say, identify the word which is opposite in meaning to the one underlined in each sentence below. Question number 1. Mr. Smart was determined to enjoy his Caribbean holiday. The answer options are sure, encouraged, irresolute, and disinclined. If Mr. Smart was determined, we're looking for a word that suggests that he was not at all interested in enjoying this Caribbean holiday. The answer to the question is answer option D, disinclined. Question 2. That knowledge is priceless. The answers are limitless, worthless, unrewarding, and unnecessary. When we say that something is priceless, we mean that no figure or no dollar amount or dollar value can really quantify just how valuable that information or item is. The answer in this case is answer option B, worthless, meaning that the knowledge isn't worth anything at all. Question 3. We belong to a society of diverse religious beliefs. The answer options are unique, identical, numerous, and interesting. When we say that our society has diverse religious beliefs, what we mean is that there are many different religious beliefs. Therefore, the best answer in this case would be answer option B, identical. Question 4. You were very civil to him. The answer options are loud, insolent, displeasing, and discourteous. To be civil is to demonstrate politeness, well-manneredness, and even courtesy. Therefore, the answer to question number 4 is answer option D, discourteous. After this story was published in the newspaper, his colleagues ostracized him. The answer options are accepted, discussed, understood, and recognized. To ostracize is to exclude someone from a group. Therefore, the best answer option in this case would be answer option A, accepted. Question 6. The celebrated author published his second novel when he was only 21. The answer options are A, infamous, B, incompetent, C, uninteresting, and D, unknown. When we refer to an author as celebrated or even an athlete or artist as celebrated, what we mean is that this person is well known. Therefore, the answer that's best opposite in meaning to celebrated is answer option D, unknown. Their conduct at the party was inappropriate. The answer options are dignified, suitable, attractive, and courteous. For party behavior to be considered inappropriate, we mean that it was not the time nor the place for that kind of behavior. Therefore, the answer to this question is answer option B, suitable. Question 8. She seems to be sensitive to the feelings of others. The answer options are unaffected by, uninterested in, unaware of, and unsure about. When we say that someone is sensitive to the feelings of others, what we mean is that that person is perceptive. The person can read the room. Therefore, the best answer in this case is answer option C, unaware of. Question number 9. The old lady enjoyed making malicious remarks to everyone she met. The answer options are kind, polite, truthful, and amusing. To say that something is malicious is to mean that it is discourteous, it is evil to some extent, that there is some malice, that there is some malintent meant or decided. Therefore, the best answer in this case would be answer option B, polite. Question 10. The headgear worn by the factory worker is made from artificial material. The answer options are synthetic, natural, man-made, and prefabricated. The best answer in this case, the opposite to artificial, which means that something is not, made by God or original from the earth, is answer option B, natural. As a result of the need for trained staff, the firm had to dismiss several workers. The options are deport, employ, promote, and transport. The best answer in this case, answer option B, employ. Question 12. The tourist brochure gave verbose accounts of the carnival festivities of last year. The answer options are concise, pleasing, accurate, and colorful. To be verbose is to be very lengthy in one's presentation or in one's speech. Therefore, the answer that's best suitable here for the antonym is answer option A, concise. Question 13. While the employers approved of his work habits, they objected to his radical views. The options are conventional, informed, fashionable, and capitalist. To be radical in one's views would be to be modern and non-traditional. Therefore, the best answer in this case, answer option A, conventional. Question 14. In these difficult economic times, many organizations retrench workers only when absolutely necessary. The answers are dismiss, promote, employ, and demote. To retrench means that people are losing their jobs. Therefore, the best answer in this case, answer option C, employ. Question 15. I can assure you, the judge told the defendant, that the law is not vindictive. The answer options are revengeful, vehement, biased, and hostile. To be vindictive is to have a desire for someone to get their due. Therefore, the best answer in this case is answer option C, biased. Question 16. The prize-winning garden boasted a profusion of rare plants. The options are variety, scarcity, display, and quantity. For plants to be provided or available in profusion means that there are many of them. Therefore, the best answer in this case is answer option B, scarcity. Question 17. Artisans make use of original designs in their craft work. The answers are copied, distant, obvious, and secondary. The best answer in this case, answer option A, copied. Question 18. Workers need to be retrained if they are to succeed in business. The answer options are fail, hustle, progress, and satisfy. The best answer in this case, answer option A, fail. Question 19. The old lady was given a temporary lodging at the geriatric hospital. The answer options are clean, permanent, safe, and pleasant. The answer in this case, answer option B, permanent. How to gain, how to keep, and how to recover happiness is in fact the secret motive of all they do and all they are willing to endure. The answers are measure, pronounce, renounce, and secure. To endure something is to be patient while it is going on and to stay in the process for as long as it takes. Therefore, the best answer in this case is answer option C, renounce. Question 21. He made derogatory remarks about the young man who could not read the message on the board. The answer options are interesting, degrading, hurtful, and uplifting. To make a remark that is derogatory means that this person does not feel too confident in their abilities after the remark has been made. Therefore, the best answer in this case, answer option D, uplifting. Question 22. Every effort was made to ensure his arrival. The answers are avoid, predict, analyze, and jeopardize. The best answer in this case, answer option D, jeopardize. Question 23. Paul was enthusiastic about attending the final game. The answer options are eager, anxious, curious, and unconcerned. The best answer in this case, answer option D, unconcerned. Question 24. Their actions showed that they were firm in their rejection of the law, of the new law. The answer options are ignorance, acceptance, application, understanding. The best answer in this case, answer option B, acceptance. Question 25. The compassionate man was known by many in the crowd. The answer options are fussy, cruel, indifferent, and dissatisfied. The best answer in this case, answer option B, cruel. Question 26. As far as I am concerned, the lattice windows are the most conspicuous feature on the building. The answer options are negative, important, insignificant, and understandable. To be conspicuous means that something is visible. It may be ornate, it may be well designed, and very much visible. Therefore, the best answer in this case, answer option C, insignificant. Question 27. It seemed probable that the country will maintain the curfew for another week. The answer options are unlikely, impudent, undecided, and inevitable. The best answer in this case, answer option A, unlikely. Question 28. The guest speaker's words reinforce the view that capital punishment can influence the rate of crime in a country. The options are destroyed, damaged, demolished, and dispelled. To reinforce means that something exists and it is strengthened. Therefore, the best opposite or antonym word here for reinforced would be B, damaged. Question 29. The barren land was a result of agricultural practices that have been passed down from generation. The options are stony, fertile, infertile, and unproductive. The antonym for barren has to mean that the land is doing well and it's thriving. Therefore, the answer is fertile. Answer option B. The affluence displayed in the beachside communities indicated the significant difference in economic status from dwellers in the city. The options are misery, wealth, poverty, and richness. Affluence means that these beachside communities are luxurious, very well appointed, and very comfortable. Therefore, the antonym for affluence is C. Poverty. Question 31. John's parents acknowledged that his recent behavior was contemptible and therefore deserved the outcome. The answer options are correct, regretful, untrustworthy, and commendable. For something to be contemptible means that it is something that is dishonorable, something that is not complimented, something that they are not proud of. Therefore, the antonym for contemptible from the list, the answer option D, commendable. Question 32. He was always adept at evading questions at interviews, and that skill was often needed to reduce conflict. The options are polite, careless, unskilled, and convincing. To be adept at something means that one shows quite a lot of mastery at that particular characteristic or trait. Therefore, the best antonym for adept is C, unskilled. Question 33. She paid meticulous attention to her work as she attached the beads to the costume. The answer options are scant, careful, detailed, and cautious. To be meticulous means that one is very particular and taking one's time and very thoughtful and, of course, mindful in the moment. Therefore, the antonym for meticulous is answer option A, scant. Question 34. The contestants and audience felt that the judges were impartial in their selection of the winner. The answer options are fair, biased, objective, conservative. To be impartial means to be free from bias. Therefore, the answer to question number 34, the antonym for impartial, answer option B, biased. Question 35. They lived in a large, sprawling, dilapidated house. The options are remote, modern, historic, and well kept. A house that is dilapidated is run down and does not look as though it is very comfortable. Therefore, the best antonym for dilapidated in this case, answer option D, well kept. Question 36. The views expressed by Mr. Jones were inconsistent with those of the committee. The options are compatible, challenging, unpredictable, and irreconcilable. For his views to be inconsistent means that he has his own views and they don't match with the committee's views. Therefore, the antonym that is best suitable in this case is A, compatible. Question 37. At the sound of the bell, the students went willingly to their respective classrooms. The options are slowly, excitedly, punctually, and reluctantly. The best antonym from the list, D, reluctantly. Question 38. We found her appreciative of the help that we had given her on this matter. The options are unhappy about, displeased at, ungrateful for, intolerant of. To show appreciation is to show gratitude. Therefore, the best antonym for appreciative of in this list, answer option C, ungrateful for. Question 39. They always displayed a lackadaisical approach to their studies, so no one was surprised at the results. The options are keen, calm, casual, and careless. To be lackadaisical means that one is unfocused and unsettled. Therefore, the best antonym in this case, answer option A, keen. Question 40. Their actions showed that they were firm in their rejection of the new law. The options are ignorance, application, acceptance, and understanding. The best answer in this case, answer option C, acceptance. Question 41. As a result of the available evidence, the accused was apprehended and no further action was taken. The options are evicted, released, cautioned, summoned. To apprehend is to take someone into custody and to restrict their movement. Therefore, the best answer in this case, answer option B, released. Question 42. Constructive criticism is neither appreciated nor encouraged by some of our peers. The options are sound, negative, valuable, and unsatisfactory. The best answer in this case, constructive criticism, is criticism that helps us to improve. Therefore, the best antonym is B, negative criticism. Question 43. The manager decided to inform the staff about all complaints received from customers. The options are requests, demands, suggestions, compliments. The best answer in this case, answer option D, compliments. He tried to think of a tactful way to tell her that he disagreed with her view of the situation. The answers are honest, injurious, indifferent, considerate. To do something in a tactful way means that we take our time and we think before we speak and we ensure that we are not being abrasive. Therefore, the best antonym in this case, answer option C, indifferent. Question 45. There was an increase in airplane travel after that incident. The answer options are decline, upheaval, restriction, fluctuation. The best answer in this case, answer option A, decline. Question 46. The distinguished actor avoided the press whenever he was on holidays. The options are praised, attacked, contacted, and interviewed. The best answer option in this case, the antonym for avoided is C, contacted. Question 47. Being friendly and helpful is characteristic of most persons from that area of the country. The options are unworthy of, uncommon in, unnecessary for, and unreasonable of. For something to be characteristic of a group of people, it means that this is something that we see in most of the people from that area. Therefore, the best answer in this case, answer option B, uncommon in. Many teens and even some parents do not agree with the amount of restrictiveness in today's society. The options are goodness, selfishness, permissiveness, competitiveness. Restrictive parenting means that people are not allowed or not permitted or given permission to do whatever they like. Therefore, the best antonym in this case, answer option C, permissiveness. Question 49. It seems improbable that the country will maintain the curfew for another week. The options are likely, tangible, inevitable, and exasperating. The best option for the antonym to improbable is A, likely. Question 50. There was a mass immigration of workers from the Caribbean to the United States. The options are emigration, deportation, assimilation, and discrimination. Immigration means that the workers are leaving the Caribbean and going to the United States. Therefore, the best antonym is emigration, which means that they are leaving the United States and coming back home. Question 51. He was eager to share the news with his friends. The options are worried, reluctant, displeased, and unavailable. The best answer or antonym in this case, he was reluctant. Answer option B. Question 52. The guest speaker's address was devoid of humor and this made persons uneasy. The options are full of, indicative of, controlled by, presented with. To be devoid means to be empty. Therefore, the best answer in this case, answer option A, full of. Question 53. The president of the Students' Association never mentioned the treasurer's integrity. The options are skill, loyalty, inability, and dishonesty. To have integrity is to do the right thing whether or not anybody is looking. Therefore, the answer is D, dishonesty. Question 54. Stacy wanted her passport renewal to be expedited, but it was not. The answer options are delayed, amended, submitted, and accelerated. To expedite is to hasten the process, is to make something go by faster or quickly. Therefore, the best antonym for expedited is answer option A, delayed. And finally, question 55. Paul's attitude to visiting the cave was one of indifference. The options are hostility, boredom, enthusiasm, and amusement. To be indifferent means that it's neither here nor there to Paul whether or not he attends. And the best antonym in this case is someone who is very excited to attend. Therefore, the best antonym is C, enthusiasm. Let's go to section 2, synonyms. The instructions say, identify the word which is similar in meaning to the one underlined in each sentence below. Question 56. She looked up and nodded her head affirmatively. The options are negatively, approvingly, emphatically, or unashamedly. The best synonym for affirmatively is answer option A, approvingly. She's nodding her head yes. Question 57. The pink light in the sky was such a strange phenomenon in that part of the country that it attracted villagers from miles around. The options are sight, event, display, and habit. A phenomenon is an occurrence. Therefore, the best synonym for phenomenon from this list, answer option B, event. Question 58. Although afraid of snakes, Timmy straightened his shoulders and brazenly accompanied his classmates as they walked towards the reptile's cage. The options are timidly, cautiously, reluctantly, and courageously. Timmy is afraid of snakes, but he has decided that he is going straight to that reptile's cage. Therefore, the best synonym in this case, answer option D, courageously. Question 59. The turbulent waters off the north coast of the island makes it difficult for ships to navigate safely to port. The options are calm, clear, rough, and murky. Waters are described as turbulent and as making the commute difficult when they are rough. Answer option C. Question 60. The judge censored the prosecuting lawyers and ordered them to pay a fine for the disgraceful conduct in his courtroom. The options are blamed, chastised, applauded, and rebuked. Therefore, if they are being punished, which is what seems to be happening here, the best option is answer option B, chastised. They have to pay a fine. Question 61. Unless adequate resources are allocated to the project, the company will not be able to sustain workers' commitment. The options are reward, improve, maintain, and eradicate. It seems as though we would like to sustain workers' commitment, meaning that we would like to continue. Therefore, the best synonym for sustain from this list, answer option C, maintain. Question 62. On her deathbed, my mother bequeathed her jewelry to my elder sister. The options are sold, willed, loaned, and displayed. To bequeath something is to pass it on to someone as a gift upon death. Therefore, the best synonym for bequeathed in this case, answer option B, willed. The more time they spent as roommates, the more Gina's untidy habits became manifest to Nicole. The options are evident, upsetting, acceptable, and bothersome. It seems as though Gina is demonstrating for Nicole more and more evidence that she is untidy. Therefore, the best synonym in this case, answer option E, evident. Question 64. Miguel could not get the toy truck he wanted and became very petulant as his mother led him out of the store. The options are irritable, infantile, hysterical, and convulsive. Miguel wants a toy truck. His mother is taking him out of the store. It sounds as though Miguel is a child. Therefore, the best synonym for petulant in this case, answer option B, infantile. Question 65. We surveyed the large crowd that was gathered there. The options are counted, greeted, examined, confronted. To survey is to observe, to take note of. Therefore, the best synonym in this case, answer option C, examined. Question 65. Although she had visited the site on many occasions, nothing had prepared her for the grandeur of the sunset on that day. The options are colorfulness, splendor, gaudiness, and harmony. This seems like it's a spot to take in a sunset, and she has visited on many times, which suggests to us that she enjoys the sunsets at that view or location. Therefore, the best synonym in this case, the splendor of the sunset. Question 67. We greatly admired her for her valor. The options are temerity, courage, spirit, and dexterity. Valor means that someone is quite brave and they are not easily daunted. Therefore, the best answer in this case, answer option B, courage. Question 68. We are asking that you make use of the expertise to help us to train some students. The options are skill, exposure, advice, and experience. If someone is considered an expert, it's not because they don't know what they're doing. They're not an amateur. Therefore, they bring with them, answer option E, a level of skill. Question 69. The stricken family thanked the entire community for their benevolence after the earthquake. The options are kindness, tolerance, friendship, and courtesy. Benevolence means that the community has taken care of this family that's been affected by the earthquake. Therefore, taking care of them in a tangible way would be answer option A, kindness. Question 70. The earthquake caused widespread damage throughout the island. The options are expansive, unlimited, immense, and extensive. Widespread damage suggests that the damage is spread throughout the island. Therefore, the best synonym in this case, answer option D, extensive. Question 71. The bank teller indicated that our account was dormant. The options are inactive, inadequate, transferred, and overdrawn. The answers are inactive, inadequate, transferred, and overdrawn. To be dormant is really to be a little bit sleepy, to have not been too busy of late. Therefore, the best synonym in this case, answer option E, inactive. Question 72. During the final stages of the trial, a new witness was called to corroborate the testimony of the accused. The answers are clarify, support, conclude, and complement. If a new witness, a person, is being called to corroborate someone else's testimony, it means that that testimony is being given B. Support. Question 73. We found it very hard to put up with his belligerent attitude. The options are prying, destructive, quarrelsome, and uncharitable. To be belligerent means that you are very rowdy, very aggressive, very hostile. Therefore, the best synonym for belligerent is quarrelsome. Question 74. The new employee seems to be a very zealous worker. The options are untrustworthy, enthusiastic, skillful, and awkward. If you think about new employees, they tend to be quite engaged on the job. We don't have any issues with their energy levels most times. So the best synonym for zealous in this list, B, enthusiastic. Question 75. Bushfires are prevalent during the dry season. The options are practiced, curtailed, widespread, and threatening. When we say that bushfires are prevalent, especially during the dry season, what we mean is that they are everywhere. Therefore, the best synonym for prevalent from the list is widespread. Answer option C. Question 76. A citizen is expected to show complete allegiance to his native land. The options are loyalty, respect, homage, and obedience. For someone to show allegiance as a citizen, and we are applying this concept of allegiance, whatever it is, to his native land, we would expect that person to be devoted to that native land. Therefore, the best synonym is answer option A, loyalty. Question 77. It was impossible to rectify the error made by the computer since inaccurate information had been fed into it. The options are fix, pin, aggravate, and determine. There is an error being made by a computer. There's inaccurate information being given to the computer. Therefore, we are trying to something the error. The best answer option in this case, fix, answer option A. But while this may be the same question, the answers are different. So you really have to take your time and examine the answers for the exam that you are writing. Question 78. It was impossible to rectify the error made by the computer since inaccurate information had been fed into it. The options in this case, alter, erase, correct, determine. The best antonym, the best synonym for rectify, A, alter. The flowers grow profusely in the garden. The options are wildly, healthily, plentifully, and colorfully. The best answer, the best synonym for profusion of flowers would be the flowers grow plentifully in the garden. The new story revealed the squalor of the old prison cells. The options are security, strength, ambience, and filthiness. Squalor is when something is not being well taken care of, not being maintained. Therefore, the best synonym in this case, answer option D, filthiness. Question 81. The screen is a little bit too big for this one, so let's see if we can make it a little touch smaller. Question 81. During the rainstorm yesterday, the winds blew incessantly across the island. The options are noisily, furiously, constantly, and occasionally. To blow incessantly means that those winds blew non-stop. Therefore, the best synonym from the list, answer option C, constantly. For the first time in a decade, the company disclosed a deficit in its account. The options are error, defect, balance, and shortfall. A deficit is when we have not quite made as much as we should. Therefore, the best answer in this case, answer option D, shortfall. And yes, the same question is repeated in question 83. However, three of the answer options are different. Question 83, for the first time in a decade, the company disclosed a deficit in its account. The answer is still answer option D, shortfall. Section 3, spelling. This was a very rare section to observe on a CSEC past paper, but it seems as though there were many years, or at least many moons ago, when spelling was assessed as a standalone section. Therefore, we're going to read each of the sentences and identify the underlined word which is incorrectly spelled. Let's go. Question 84. While the secretary was advising the young woman, her discourteous nephew mischievously made faces at her. Secretary is correctly spelled, discourteous is correctly spelled, and so is mischievously. Question 84, answer option D. Question 85, practice for beginners in this course will commence at precisely 10 o'clock. Practice in this case is incorrectly spelled because we should use the C version of practice, Practice, which is really the noun version. What we have here is the verb version, and we're looking for the noun. The answer to question 85, answer option A. Question 86. When you are compiling the estimates for the recurrent expenditure, do you include breakages? The answer to question 86 is answer option B, recurrent. There should only be one C in recurrent. Compiling and expenditure are both correctly spelled. Question 87. The deafening noise blared from John's AB cassette recorder and seemed incessant. All of the words underlined in this sentence are correctly spelled. So the answer is answer option D. Question 88. The corporal investigated the report of burglary. The word that's incorrectly spelled here is not investigated and not burglary, but corporal is incorrectly spelled because we should include an R just between the O and P. Therefore, the answer to question 88, answer option A. Question 89. The zealous spectator experienced great disappointment when his favorite team lost. The incorrectly spelled word in this sentence is answer option A. Zealous should be spelled Zealous. Question 90. After the incident, the boys traveled a different route back to school. The answer in this case, answer option D. There's no error. Each of the words is correctly spelled. Question 91. The foreign ship was impounded for polluting our territorial waters. The incorrectly spelled word here is territorial, which has two R's, but it should have three. And the additional R should go right after the first one. So the word should be spelled T-E-R-R-I-T-O-R-I-A-L. Question 91, answer option C. Question 92. Even though the boy had demonstrated his innocence, disciplinary action was taken against him. Question 92, Answer option C. Disciplinary should be spelled with an ARY rather than an ERY. Question 93, and finally for this section. The doctor recommended that the patient spend a period of convalescence in the country in order to recuperate fully. Recommended, convalescence, and recuperate are all correctly spelled. The answer to question 93, answer option D, no error. By the way, convalescence means a period of recovery and healing on the journey to well-being. Let's go to the sentence completion section next. The instructions say, each sentence has either one or two words missing. Choose from the four options the word or pair of words which best completes the meaning of the sentence. Therefore, we're looking for the word or words which match the context of the sentence best out of the options provided. So here we go. Question 94. Samuel Selvon has been something for his something, the development of West Indian literature. The options are welcomed and misinterpretation of, praised and contribution to, ignored and subscription to, abused and popularity in. The best answer to question number 94, Samuel Selvon has been praised for his contribution to the development of West Indian literature. Question 95, choosing ice cream rather than grapefruit, Denise showed her something, sweet foods. The options are determination, preference for, likeness to, and aversion from. The best answer in this case, choosing ice cream rather than grapefruit, Denise showed her preference for sweet foods. Question 96. Her criticism was constructive and honest, with no something whatsoever. The options are coherence, malice, candor, and innuendo. The best word to complete the sentence in this case, her criticism was constructive and honest, with no malice whatsoever. Question 97. Banking has become the most something industry as evidenced by the huge profits recorded last year. The options to complete the sentence are popular, cautious, ambitious, and thriving. The best answer to complete the sentence, banking has become the most thriving industry as evidenced by the huge profits recorded last year. Question 98. Something people would not frequently change their wardrobe to keep up with every new trend in fashion. The options are fashionable, adventurous, conservative, and courteous. The best answer in this case, answer option C, conservative people would not frequently change their wardrobe to keep up with every new trend in fashion. They're a little bit too traditional. Question 99. Most persons are usually something those who say one thing and practice another. The options are sorry for, attracted to, mistaken about, and contemptuous of. Think about it. How do we usually feel about people who say one thing and practice another or do something different? The answer in this case, answer option D, we do not like or we are contemptuous of persons who say one thing and practice another. Question 100. After reviewing the medical file and having many consultations with the patient, The surgeons decided on the best something for the surgery. The options are alteration, procedure, opposition, and permission. The best answer in this case, after reviewing the medical file and having many consultations with the patient, the surgeons decided on the best procedure for the surgery. Question 101. Although it is possible to move the house, the cost of moving it makes the project popular, impractical, worthwhile, or inconsiderate. Although it is possible to move the house, the cost of moving it makes the project impractical. Question 102. Ready-to-wear garments are something in great numbers off the racks in stores. The options are sorted, situated, original, and available. All right. Ready-to-wear garments are available in great numbers off the racks in stores. Question 103. If you prepare something, you have a good chance of something the interviewer that you are the right person for the job, the right person. The options are carefully and prompting, hurriedly and impressing, thoroughly and convincing, inadequately and persuading. You have to think about what would you have to do for the outcome to be that you are the person offered the job. Therefore, the answer is answer option C. If you prepare thoroughly, you have a good chance of convincing the interviewer that you are the right person for the job. Question 104. The water in the reservoir was in danger of being something, and this was a major concern for the authorities. The options are infected, polluted, diverted, and exhausted. All right. So if we're talking about water, which is a resource, we're talking about it being something of a concern for authorities. Therefore, the answer is the water in the reservoir was in danger of being polluted, and this was a major concern for the authorities. Water that is polluted can then infect, but human bodies are infected. Water and other resources like air can be polluted. Question 105. To conceal his true activities, the spy quickly something, a plausible excuse for his presence there. The options are fabricated, divulged, explained, and disguised. Well, if it's a spy and we're talking about him concealing what he really did with an excuse, therefore the answer is to conceal his true activities, the spy quickly fabricated a plausible excuse for his presence there. Question 106. Despite his short temper, his willingness to give of his wealth to help others to succeed led people to call him hasty, foolish, benevolent, or old-fashioned. All right, so he may be short-tempered, but he is willing to give of his wealth, and he is willing to help others succeed. Therefore, despite his short temper, his willingness to give of his wealth to help others succeed led people to call him benevolent. Question 107. While the committee members something insults across the floor, the chairman tried in vain to something order. The options are hurled and restore, spoke and impose, gave and maintain, exchange and conserve. Now, if we're thinking about the way that insults might be traded, When we think about insults being traded, we are thinking about almost as though our words are stones, and that's an English B poem. So, which pair of words would create the image of words being thrown like stones and the chairman trying in vain to something order? All right, so answer option A. While the committee members hurled insults across the floor, they took their words and they were throwing their words at each other, the chairman tried in vain to restore order. Question 108. After 2 years of probation, he was something in the job because his employer found him to be an something worker. The options are resigned and efficient, retrenched and adept, confirmed and industrious, employed and unskilled. All right, so this person's been on probation for 2 years. He was something in the job, not from the job, in the job. Therefore, the best pair here, after 2 years of probation, he was confirmed in the job because his employer found him to be an industrious worker. Question 109. When parents display a something for one child, the others are likely to feel something. The options are fondness and lonely, dislike and indifferent, preference and jealous, concern and angry. All right, so if we think about parent-child relationships, especially if they are, there's more than one sibling in the house, two children at least, then we are thinking about the way that parents can behave to make the others feel a specific emotion. The best answer in this case, when parents display a preference for one child, the others are likely to feel jealous. Question 110. An attack on someone when that person is most vulnerable may not always be, but it is always something else. The options are inappropriate and thoughtful, rewarding and satisfying, destructive and distressing, effective and unkind. All right, so we're thinking about this attack on someone. The person is vulnerable. That means that they do have some weak spots that can be exploited. Therefore, we are looking for something that may not be our desired outcome. If the person has weak points, we expect them to collapse, at least, to be decimated by our attack. Therefore, the answer is an attack on someone when that person is most vulnerable may not always be effective, but it is always unkind. Question 111. Some children, although health conscious, are usually something diseases. The options are inclined and fatal, immune and incurable, susceptible and infectious, indifferent and contagious. Some children, they're taking care of themselves, so they're described as health conscious. They're doing their best, but somehow or the other, they are still getting diseases, I suppose. Some children, although health conscious, are unusually susceptible to infectious diseases. Question 112. The new owners will be asked to carry out the plan as far as possible and will be expected to something the policy of cost reduction approved by the board. The options are adapt, state, develop, and implement. All right, so if they say that the new owners will be asked to carry out, we're looking for, and they also have to do something with the policy. So they have a plan to carry out. We're looking for a synonym that matches to carry out, and the best option here, the new owners will be asked to carry out the plan as far as possible and will be expected to implement the policy of cost reduction approved by the board. Question 113. He's something the invitation to the party when he remembered the examination for which he had to. The options are accepted, invigilate, refused, assist, declined, prepare, acknowledged, and research. So if we think about invitations to parties and we think about examinations during the time where that party might be hosted, we have to think about the fact that there are very few reasons why people might not attend that party. All right. So let's see. He declined the invitation to the party when he remembered the examination for which he had to prepare. Question 114. The journalists were impressed by the something of the statesman whose speeches had a profound on all who heard them. The options are appearance and reaction, presence and result, emotion and sensation, eloquence and effect. If the journalists are said to be impressed, and we're talking about them being impressed by a statesman who's presenting a speech, and that effect is a profound one, well, there you have the answer. The journalists were impressed by the eloquence of the statesman whose speeches had a profound effect on all who heard them. The cause and effect relationship is the statesman speaks, the politician speaks, the journalists are impressed, and everybody is, wow, they are blown away. Question 115. Justice must be seen to be done, for something treatment can cause great something. When they use the word for here, pay close attention to the use of for. It will help you to find the answer. The options are unlawful and surprise, pronounced and anger, unfair and resentment, unrewarded and bitterness. So the use of for in this case is a cause and effect relationship. If justice is not seen to be done, this can be the result. Therefore, the answer is justice must be seen to be done, for unfair treatment can cause great resentment. Question 116. The clerk was granted a promotion because she was indifferent, lackadaisical, industrious, indolent. So if we say that she was granted a promotion, people are not granted promotions for any other reason other than they are very businesslike and they bring profit to the business. So the answer is the clerk was granted a promotion because she was industrious. Question 117. The community was something when the hard-working pastor was accused of corruption. The options are pleased, appalled, ecstatic, and irritated. The answer that's best in this case, the community was, the pastor is accused of corruption. I don't know that that is going to be something that you hear every day. So the community was appalled. They were shocked when the hardworking pastor was accused of corruption. Question 118. Are you trying to something that all along he knew of the plot to oust the committee? The options are persist, accuse, clarify, and insinuate. And if we're thinking about someone asking you if you are making a type of suggestion of something that someone else may have known all along, the best answer in this case would be, are you trying to insinuate that all along He knew of the plot to oust the committee. Question 119. Because she had worked all day, the maid was something the task of preparing supper. The options are deprived of, relieved of, barred from, and hindered from. All right, so if we think about the maid working all day and we're thinking about preparing supper as a task, the best way to complete this sentence would be because she had worked all day, the maid was relieved of the task of preparing supper. Question 120. There are many who would try to something your efforts because of their jealousy. The options are assist, affect, thwart, and encourage. If you think about people who are jealous, they are not really trying to help you to get to your goals and not trying to support your efforts. Therefore, the answer to question 120, there are many who would try to thwart your efforts because of their jealousy. Question 121. Parents should try to something their children so that they may eventually become something else. We're looking for a cause and an effect. The options are discipline and timid, train and intelligible, pamper and acceptable, educate and self-sufficient. The answer in this case, parents should try to educate their children so that they may eventually become self-sufficient. Question 122. Something people are likely to be afraid to take risks in life. The options are wealthy, selfish, cautious, and knowledgeable. The best answer option in this case, cautious people are likely to be afraid to take risks in life. So that does it for our sentence completion section. All right, it's time for error recognition. The instructions say, select the option A, B, C, or D that best describes each of the sentences below. For each of the sentences, you have to choose which one of these descriptors is accurate or reflects that sentence. Answer option A. The sentence is too wordy, that is. Answer option A. The sentence is too wordy, that is, repetitive or contains redundancies. Answer option B. The sentence contains cliches or misused metaphors. Answer option C. The sentence is incorrect grammatically or faulty in diction. And answer option D. The sentence is acceptable as it stands because there are no errors. This is one version of error recognition. There's another version which I'll show you down below. But for now, let's get into this error recognition section. We're going to scroll and we're quickly going to lose sight of these answer options here. So I will post the answer options in the corner of this video, right on that other side, so that you can follow along. To help me follow along, I have my answers on this sheet, and it looks like we are going from question 123 to question 172 in this style of error recognition. So we have a lot of ground to cover. Question 123. Traffic bottlenecks must be ironed out if we are to prevent giant traffic congestion. The answer to this question is answer option B. Traffic bottlenecks and giant traffic congestion are very metaphorical uses of language, not necessarily literal, but certainly figurative. Answer option B. Question 124. The better of the two athletes claims never to have used the dangerous drugs found in his possession. All right, so the answer to this one, answer option D. There's no error in the sentence. Question, I wonder if I could write with this. It's not as easy as I thought. Question 125. As the teacher continued his lesson, John began to lose all interest, imagining himself laying on his bed, relaxing. The answer to this question is answer option C. We would use lying instead of laying because John is a human being and human beings lie while objects lay. Question 126. The secretary had made up a calendar of events, but there was not enough stationery to give each member a copy. The answer to this question is answer option Answer option C. In this case, calendar is incorrectly spelt. Question 127. You may notice that the windows of the house next door, the man pointed out, looks like those of ancient English cottages. The answer to this question is answer option C. This question is faulty grammatically because the subject of the sentence is the windows of the house next door. And since windows is a plural noun, we should use the plural form of the verb, which would be look like those of ancient English cottages. So this should be changed to look instead of looks. Question 128. The platter was circular in shape, and in color it resembled a harvest moon. The answer to this question is answer option A. To say that it's circular is to... Question 128. The platter was circular in shape, and in color it resembled a harvest moon. The answer to this question is answer option A. To say that it's circular is to define its shape. Therefore, to say circular in shape is redundant. Question 129. Because of the many fruit trees which distinguished the yard, the little boys enjoyed playing in the yard of the uninhabited house where no one had lived for many years. What we observe in this sentence is that the house is described as uninhabited, but it's also said to be a place where no one has lived for many years. That's repetitive. Therefore, the answer to question 129 is answer option A. Question 130. He quickly reversed back the car into the street to avoid being hit by the oncoming vehicle. Well, we don't say reverse back because it's repetitive. To reverse is to go back. Therefore, the answer to this question is answer option A. Question 131. He advanced a step or two to meet his attacker, who became alarmed and retreated back. Once again, we have people advancing and people retreating. However, even on just the basis of retreat back, the sentence is redundant. The answer to this question is answer option E. Question 132. The new disciplinary methods have a positive effect on the students' behavior. This sentence uses the word positive affect when positive effect is intended. In other words, what we're looking for is a positive outcome on the student's behavior. Therefore, the answer to question 132 is answer option C. Question 133. She had adequate time to prepare for the interview. There's no error in this sentence, and the answer is answer option D. Question 134. Sitting alone in his room by himself, he repeated her name over and over again. If he's sitting alone, he is by himself. Therefore, the sentence is repetitive. Answer option A. Question 135. Seldom do people declare that they are not the products of their environment. The answer to this question is answer option C. People seldom declare that they are not the products of their environment would be the better phrasing for this sentence or better sentence structure. Question 136. The mayor ran up the street like a house on fire and, shouting with all the strength he could muster, sounded the alarm. This sentence uses several metaphors and significant use of figurative language where literal language should suffice. And the metaphors themselves are a little bit misused and mixed up. Therefore, the answer to question 136 is answer option B. Question 137. If I were captain of the West Indies cricket team, I will attack the batsmen with my fast bowlers immediately after the luncheon interval. The answer to this question is answer option C. We are using if I were to mean that we are not the captain of the West Indies cricket team. Therefore, we can't use the present tense here, and we would have to use the conditional. We would have to instead say, I would attack the batsmen with my fast bowlers immediately after the luncheon interval. Question 138. In my opinion, I think that your suggestion to upgrade housing facilities in rural areas is impractical. If it's your opinion, we know that you're the one who thinks. Therefore, the answer to question 138 is answer option A. Question 139. The opinion that men are superior to women is a fallacy which men themselves perpetuated for centuries. This sentence is grammatically correct, there's no redundancy, and there are no metaphors. The answer to this question is answer option D, no error. Question 140. It is his view, and one which he strongly holds, that constitutionally elected governments should not be toppled by force of arms. This person is suggesting that violence is not the answer to replacing an elected government. Therefore, the use of toppled by force of arms is a metaphor, and the answer to question 140 is answer option B. Question 141. When the clerk raised his voice in protest, his boss asked him to hold his tongue, since empty vessels made the most noise. To hold one's tongue and to say empty vessels make the most noise when speaking about or referring to someone talking incessantly is metaphorical or figurative language. Therefore, The answer to question 141 is answer option B. Question 142. The extremely extravagant girl was so animated, cheerful, and high-spirited. She was invited to many parties. So to say that this girl is animated, cheerful, and high-spirited would be to say the same thing about her characteristics or her personality in three different ways. Therefore, the sentence is redundant. Answer option A. Question 143. Is it any wonder why the children that Miss Brown knows behave like delinquents when they have a heroine that thinks the worst of them and their kind? It's difficult to figure out what this sentence is trying to communicate. Therefore, the answer to this question is answer option C. Question 144. He divided the sweets among you and me. All right, if we're going to have sweets divided between two persons, between is the word we should use. Therefore, question 144, the answer is answer option C. Question 145. The duties given the newly recruited officer were planning, coordinating, and organizing the activities of the large staff. If we think about the task of planning, we can't figure out how it's different from coordinating and organizing. Therefore, we're using three words where one would do. The answer to this question is answer option A. The sentence is redundant and repetitive. Question 146. Overcome by fear, I ran past my home without realizing that I had done so. The answer to this question is answer option C. The use of past in this case is the incorrect form of past. We should use PAST instead of PASSED. In this case, PASSED is the past tense form of the word or the verb to pass. Question 147. Of the two books, Good Habits, in spite of its size, provides a deeper study of humans in their environment. The answer to this question is answer option C. The modifier in spite of its size should be placed at the beginning of the sentence. Therefore, the sentence should be restructured to say, in spite of its size, of the two books, Good Habits provides a deeper study of humans in their environment. Question 148. In A House of Mr. Biswas, Naipaul show that how a man may struggle against great odds to achieve those things he desires most. I should have read that he most desires, but that's not where the error is in this sentence. This sentence is grammatically incorrect. The answer is answer option C. In standard English, we don't say show that how, we simply say show that. Question 149. The Chernobyl accident gave a grim but timely reminder to our shrinking world that no nation can hope to isolate itself from the horrendous effects of a major nuclear disaster. There's no error in this sentence. The sentence is acceptable as it stands. Question 150. It's not absolutely necessary for it to be done today. The answer to this question is answer option C. There's nothing wrong with absolutely and necessary. However, this pronoun is incorrect and we should use the version of its that is it apostrophe s, which is the contraction of it is. Question 150. A focus on physical, mental, and emotional well-being is the modern approach to fitness. The answer to question 151 is answer option C. There's a comma missing between physical and mental. Question 152. Disgusted with the situation, he decided to jump in the saddle and put down his foot. All right, so what they mean is that he decided to do something about the situation. However, the use of the phrase jump in the saddle and put down his foot are metaphors. Therefore, the answer to question 152 is answer option B. Question 153. There is hardly a point to our knocking, as no one is not at home. Do you see it? When we say no one is not at home, that's a double negative, and Standard English does not entertain double negatives. Therefore, the answer to question 153 is answer option C. Question 154. Had they not been forewarned, they might have joined the queue, not knowing that gas was not on sale at that station. There's no error in this sentence. It does not flow as nicely as we would like, but grammatically, the sentence is acceptable as it stands. Question 155. I formed the brilliant idea of climbing the fence and to hang from the top of the rail until the bull went away. This sentence is incorrect grammatically because we say the idea is climbing the fence. Therefore, the verb we use for the next verb we use should say hanging from the top of the railway. That's called parallelism. Or parallel verb structure. The answer to question 155 is answer option C. Question 156. The problem with the students is that they arrive late, gives no excuse, and are rude when spoken to. All right, so if the students arrive late, then the next verb should be plural as well, and the answer to this question is answer option C, because gives should be give. Question 157. June prefers to lie in bed, not wanted to go to school, nor does any work. The answer to question 157 is answer option C. Question 158. The biased reporter is concerned not so much with the truth of what he writes as with its credibility. The definition of credibility is that it is the truth of something. Therefore, the sentence is redundant. The answer here is answer option A. Question 159. To attract more business, the store offered free gifts at no expense to the customer. The answer to question 159 is answer option A. Free gifts are always provided at no expense, so the sentence is redundant. Question 160. The new disciplinary methods have affected a vast improvement on the behavior of students. We had a sentence very similar to this a few dozens ago. The answer to question 160 is answer option D. In this case, affected is being used correctly as a verb, and it has caused a vast improvement on the behavior of students. That's what the disciplinary methods have done. Question 161. She was a nimble-footed dancer. Her graceful body executed delicate movements with incredible poise. There is no error in this sentence. Question 162. The politician hammered the nails of his argument into the leafy minds of his audience, who had come to hear him speak on the difficult subject of monetary policy. The answer to question 162 is answer option B. The metaphors in this sentence are trying to describe the way that the politician delivered a speech and his audience being quite receptive. Therefore, the metaphors are unnecessary and they are also misused. Question 163. There are many who have not considered the need to abstain from alcohol, but abandoning drink for sobriety is truly the only option for one who wishes to engage in healthy lifestyle practices. The answer to question 163 is answer option D. There's no error in the sentence. Question 164. He wanted to beg for his old job, but that ship had sailed and he had to simply play the hand he was dealt. The answer to this question is answer option B. Ships are sailing and hands are being played. The metaphors are unnecessary in the sentence, so the answer is answer option B. Question 165. To attract more business, the store offered transportation at no cost to the customer. So as we can see here, there is no error in this sentence because there's no redundancy, as there was in the sentence that was very similar to this one a few dozens ago. Question 166. From the examination results, it was quite clear that Joanne's work was not up to mark, so she missed the boat. All right, so the answer to question 166 is answer option B. There's no literal boat, and therefore Joanne is not attaining what she should, but the metaphor is unnecessary. Question 167. Rising from the throne, the crowd cheered their noble monarch as he walked solemnly forward to greet the foreign dignitaries. This seems to be a little bit of a typo here. But the typo is not the error. The error in this sentence is that the crowd is actually rising from the throne instead of the monarch. Therefore, the answer to question 167 is answer option C. The modifier is misplaced. Question 168. Peter now have influenza and so is unable to participate in the inter-school games. All right, so Peter now have influenza is the error. Therefore, the answer to question 168 is answer option C. Question 169. The moon shone brightly in the clear night sky, its cool light a blessing after the searing heat of the day. The sentence is beautifully descriptive. The answer is answer option D, no error. Question 170, with 3 more to go in this format. The rest of the team was not in no mood to continue the game and went off the field. Alright, so the answer to this question is answer option C. The rest of the team was in no mood should be the structure. Question 171. 2 math students entered the competition. Only one of them was good enough to reach the quarterfinals. In this case, the incorrect adjective is being used. It's too many students because student is a countable noun. Therefore, the answer to question 171 is answer option C. Question 172. The exhibition is expected to be a major attraction, not only to adults, but particular to school children in that area. The word particular should be particularly. Therefore, the answer to question 172 is answer option C. So that's 123 to 172 for that format of error recognition. But how about we try out a few sentences in the other format? In this format, your eyes are directed to specific errors, 3 of them in every single sentence, and you also have the option of selecting D, no error. Question 173. She is one of the thousands of babies who are diagnosed with that disease. The answer to the question is answer option D. There's no error in the sentence. Question 174. Pray, good deeds, and living well with one's neighbors are essential to spiritual health. The answer to question 174 is answer option A, because instead of the verb pray, we should use the noun prayer. Question 175. The principal bought the school furniture from that store. The answer to question 175 is answer option D, no error. Question 176. The athletes with the worst performances claim never to have used the dangerous drugs found on their possession. The answer to question 176 is answer option C. The sentence should say found in their possession, so the preposition is incorrect. Question 177. The minister complained that the number of persons selected to perform was inadequate. There's no error in this sentence. The answer is answer option D. Question 178. Considering the chaos you would cause if were to resign now, I have no choice than to refuse your request. For those of you who have the downloaded version of this document, I'll make a note that I have to fix question 178 at option B. However, the error in this sentence is answer option C. I have no choice but to refuse your request. Question 179. Tom, the most talented of those musicians who need help, has promised to give his services free of charge for any worthwhile cause. The answer to question 179 is answer option A, because instead of need, we should use the singular form of the verb, which is needs. Question 180. The receipt of his letter assured me that such an incident would not be tolerated. The answer to question 180 is answer option A, because receipt is incorrectly spelt. Question 181. We could reach the survivors neither by boat or by plane, and so we abandoned our search as futile. The answer to question 181 is answer option B, because instead of or, we should use nor by plane. Question 182. I believe that if his attitude improves, his general performance will also improve. There's no error in this sentence. The answer is option D. Question 183. She was not feeling well at the beginning of the journey, and sitting at the front of the car made her feel worse. There's no error in this sentence. Answer option D. Question 184. The better of the two athletes claim never to have used the dangerous drugs found in his possession. The answer to question 184 is answer option B. We should use a different verb tense here, as in he claimed never to have used. Question 185. Overcome with happiness, I ran past my home without recognizing I had done so until my sister called me. So this is very similar to another sentence that we had in the previous error recognition section. But in this case, the correct form of the word past is used. Therefore, there is no error in question 185. The answer is answer option D. Question 186. If Antonio's attitude changes, there will be a vast improvement in his performance. When we look at answer option B, we note that we should use, instead of there as the pronoun, we should use THERE. The answer to question 186 is answer option B. Question 187. One of the admirable characteristics of the young is that they are not easily scared. There's no error in this sentence. The answer is answer option D. Question 188. Since too much passengers were in the taxi, the policeman issued a ticket to the driver. In this case, instead of too much, we should use too many, because passengers is a countable noun. Therefore, the answer to question 188 is answer option A. Question 189. As John listened to the lesson being taught, he began to lose interest. The answer to question 189 is answer option C, because instead of loose, we should use the word lose, L-O-S-E. Question 190. The nurses were given separate quarters because the main building did not have enough rooms for them. This question required a little bit of research, and what I found is that enough and adequate and sufficient are all synonyms. Therefore, there's no error in this sentence, inasmuch as I would not have used enough if I had written the sentence. Question 191. It is my pleasure to give you some information concerning proper nutrition. There is no error in the sentence. The answer is answer option D. Question 192. When the museum purchased his paintings, the patrons posted many compliments. In this case, the word compliments is the incorrect version of that similar sounding pair of words. We should use compliments with an I instead of the first E. So, in this case, compliments used here means the full set of something. However, we're talking about good reviews. Therefore, the answer to question 192 is answer option C. Question 193. His intelligence, rather than his height, was the deciding factor when considering him for the job. The spelling of height is Height. Therefore, the answer to question 193 is answer option B. Question 194. He thought it best to sacrifice the match and submit to the ridicule of the team for his friend's sake. The answer to question 194 is answer option D. No error. Question 195. Can you assure me that the proposition will be accepted by the committee? The answer to question 195 is answer option C. Instead of accept, we should use the word accept. Question 196. He played with the perimeter of the picnic area and approached the fence cautiously. The answer to question 196 is answer option B. Picnic is incorrectly spelled. Question 197. After embarrassing his colleague, his conscience bothered him and he eventually apologized. There is no error in this sentence. Answer option D. His colleague thought the accommodation provided was substandard. Again, there is no error in question 198. Answer option D. Question 199. It is my privilege to give you some advice concerning proper nutrition. The answer to this question is answer option B. The verb advise means to give advice. Therefore, we should use advice instead of advise at question 199, answer option B. Question 200. She was not feeling well at the beginning of the journey, and sitting at the front of the car made her feel worse. We've seen something similar to this before, but different words were underlined in that context. Therefore, the answer to this question is answer option D, no error. Question 201. Mary, will you please fill up the buckets before the water supply is cut off? There is an error at option B. Instead of full up, we would ask Mary to please fill the buckets before the water supply is cut off. Question 201, answer option B. Question 202, any disease of the bones and joints which are due to deficiencies in a single nutritional factor can be prevented. The answer to this question is answer option A. Any is a singular pronoun, as in, it always agrees with the singular forms of verbs. Therefore, any would only agree with is. The answer to question 202 is any of the diseases and joints which is due to deficiencies in a single nutritional factor can be prevented. Question 203. No one in the island seemed to know where the Prime Minister could be located at, even though there was a nationwide search for him. The answer to question 203 is answer option B. Instead of located at, we simply say could be located. And the final error recognition question. Question 204. No sooner had he entered Kathleen's living room and begun preparations for the feast when there was a sharp rap at the door. The answer to question 204 is answer option C. When we say the phrase no sooner had, we are going to have to use the word than. So we are talking about the close proximity in time that one action occurs and the other one follows it very, very closely together. Now let's go to equivalent sentences. Now let's go to equivalent sentences. The instructions say each sentence is followed by 4 sentences. Choose the one nearest in meaning to the original sentence. Be sure to read all 4 choices before you select your answer. Question 205. Water pollution is a common problem because people thoughtlessly dump their garbage in watercourses. Answer option A. People throw their garbage in watercourses, making this an unusual problem. B. If people did not dump their garbage in watercourses, we would not have a pollution problem. C. Water pollution takes place because people negligently dump their garbage in watercourses. D. Even though water pollution is a problem, people still dump their garbage in watercourses. Pause the video and make your selection now. The answer to this question is answer option C. Water pollution takes place because people negligently dump their garbage in watercourses. Question 206. Much is being done to develop tourism in our country by providing good hotel accommodation and facilities. The answer options are A. It is important to provide good hotel accommodation and facilities for tourists. B. Good hotel accommodation and facilities are crucial if we want to develop tourism. C. We are doing a great deal to boost tourism by providing good hotel accommodation and facilities. D. If we do not provide good hotel accommodation and facilities, tourists will not come to our country. The answer to this question is answer option C. We are doing a great deal to boost tourism by providing good hotel accommodation and facilities. Question 207. So engrossed was he in his task that he did not hear his sister enter the room. Answer option A. His task was so difficult that he did not observe his sister's entry. B. He did not hear his sister enter the room because of the job he was doing. C. His sister's entry did not attract his attention because he was enjoying what he was doing. D. He was preoccupied with what he was doing that he was unaware of his sister's entry. The answer to question 207 is answer option D. He was preoccupied with what he was doing that he was unaware of his sister's entry. Question 208. John told his parents in no uncertain terms that he was going to study at university as soon as he left school. Answer option A. John boasted to his parents that he was going to university as soon as he left school. B. John told his parents that they should permit him to go to university after he left school. C. John made it clear to his parents that when he left school, he would go to university immediately. D. John's parents were told that it was obviously his desire to attend university immediately after leaving school. The best answer in this case, answer option C. John made it clear to his parents that when he left school, he would go to university immediately. Question 209. Let me see if I can get it to fit a little better on the screen. I may have to move out of your way. The bright colors of the bird distinguished it from the others flying across the pale sky. A. The bright colors of the bird contrasted with the pale sky while it was flying. B. The pale sky made the birds noticeable when flying as they had bright colors. C. The pale sky made the birds distinguished, particularly the one with the bright colors. D. The bright colors against the pale sky made the birds stand out among those flying by. The answer to question 209 is answer option D. Question 210. I cannot understand why you have done this since you tell me that Mark means a lot to you. A. Since Mark means a lot to you, the reason for your action is puzzling to me. B. Since you tell me that Mark means a lot to you, I cannot understand why you have done this. C. You tell me that although Mark means a lot to you, you did this. D. Mark cannot mean a lot to you, or else I know that you would not have done this. The answer to this question is answer option B. Since you tell me that Mark means a lot to you, I cannot understand why you have done this. Question 211. When Mr. Peets was transferred on promotion from South Point to Maraval, Mrs. Adams succeeded him. Answer option A. Mrs. Adams worked at Maraval after Mr. Peets left on promotion. B. Mr. Peets was succeeded by Mrs. Adams when he was promoted to a post at Maraval. C. Both Mr. Peets and Mrs. Adams were transferred on promotion, Mr. Peets to Maraval and Mrs. Adams to South Point. D. In order to be promoted, Mr. Peets had to be transferred to Maraval to allow Mrs. Adams to work at South Point. The answer to question 211 is answer option B. Mr. Peets was succeeded by Mrs. Adams when he was promoted to a post at Maraval. Question 212. An interest in their nation's development plans should be displayed by its young people. A. Young people should take an interest in plans for national development. B. National development is dependent upon the youth. C. Young people ought to be aware of plans for the purpose of national development. D. The nation will advance through plans proposed by its young people. The answer to question 212 is answer option A. Young people should take an interest in plans for national development. Question 213. Recent floods have made the route impassable. A. People are unable to travel because of the floods. B. The road cannot be used as a result of the floods. C. Traveling has been brought to a standstill because of floods. D. Because of heavy showers, commuters were forced to detour. The answer to question 213 is the road cannot be used as a result of the floods. Answer option B. Question 214. The competitors in the long jump event were daunted by the performance of Kevin Jones. A. Kevin Jones was the best participant in the long jump event. B. No one expected to do better than Kevin Jones in the long jump. C. The long jump event daunted all the competitors except Kevin Jones. D. Since Kevin Jones jumped so well, the other competitors in the event were discouraged. Alright, so the answer to question 214 is answer option D. Since Kevin Jones jumped so well, the other competitors in the event were discouraged. Question 215. In spite of their size, whales are no longer an even match for man. A. Whales are no longer even a match for man. B. Men are no longer a match for whales in spite of their size. C. Because of their size, whales should be better able to hold their own against man. D. Although they are large, whales can no longer adequately defend themselves against man. The answer to question 215 is answer option D. Although they are large, whales can no longer adequately defend themselves against man. Question 216. The lion, which had fallen ill, was lying in his den famished and upon the point of death. A. The famous lion lying in his den was sick and on the point of death. B. As a result of being starved, the lion collapsed in his den, sick and near death. C. The famished lion, on the point of death, had fallen ill while lying in his den. D. The sick lion was lying in his den, extremely hungry and on the point of death. The answer to question 216 is answer option D. The sick lion was lying in his den, extremely hungry and on the point of death. Question 217. Realizing that her suitcase was left on the bus, the woman desperately tried to attract the conductor's attention. When the desperate woman noticed that she was leaving the bus without her suitcase, she tried to attract the conductor's attention. B. When the woman became aware that she had left her suitcase, she tried her best to attract the attention of the bus conductor. C. The woman made all attempts to attract the conductor's attention to the suitcase which she had left on the bus. D. The conductor's attention was attracted by the woman who, in desperation, had forgotten her suitcase on the bus. The answer to question 217 is answer option B. When the woman became aware that she had left her suitcase, she tried her best to attract the attention of the bus conductor. Question 218. If Mr. Jones plans to stay overnight in Brussels, his secretary will reserve a hotel room for him. A. Mr. Jones's secretary will reserve a hotel room for him when he stays overnight in Brussels? B. Unless Mr. Jones plans to stay overnight in Brussels, his secretary will reserve a hotel room for him. C. Since Mr. Jones plans to stay overnight in Brussels, his secretary will reserve a hotel room for him. D. Mr. Jones's secretary will reserve a hotel room for him should he plan to stay overnight in Brussels. The answer to question 218 is Mr. Jones's secretary will reserve a hotel room for him should he plan to stay overnight in Brussels. Answer option D. Question 219. Since I went to the shop yesterday, I do not need to go there today. A. Since I did not want to go there today, I went to the shop yesterday. B. I went to the shop yesterday because I do not need to go there today. C. Having gone to the shop yesterday, I do not need to go there today. D. Yesterday I went to the shop and I do not need to go there again today. The best answer to question 219 is answer option C. Having gone to the shop yesterday, I do not need to go there today. Question 220. Bad spelling may not matter to some, but it is the mark of a second-rate writer and creates an unfavorable impression of his work. A. To some, an unfavorable impression of both the writer and his work is conveyed by second-rate spelling. B. Bad spelling does not matter much to some people, as it is only a symptom of the second-rate writer and his work. C. Although it may be of little consequence to some, bad spelling classifies a writer as second-rate and gives a poor impression of his work. D. To the second-rate writer, it does not matter much to some. Bad spelling conveys a poor impression of his work. All right, the answer to question 220 is answer option C. Although it may be of little consequence to some, bad spelling classifies a writer as second-rate and gives a poor impression of his work. Question 221. The firemen rushed to the scene of the fire only to discover that they were unable to save the building. A. When the fire was discovered, the firemen rushed to the scene but were too late to save the building. B. As the firemen found out, discovering the scene of the fire was one thing, but saving the building was another. C. The quick efforts of the firemen at the scene were in vain, as the building went up in flames. D. Despite their speedy arrival at the scene of the fire, the firemen found out that the building could not be saved. The best answer to question 221 is answer option D. Despite their speedy arrival at the scene of the fire, the firemen found out that the building could not be saved. Question 222. According to the witness, he did not see the accused man near the scene of the crime. A. The witness testified that he did not see the accused man commit the crime. B. The witness testified that the accused was not the man seen near the scene of the crime. C. The witness testified to seeing no evidence that the accused man had committed the crime. D. The witness testified that the accused man was far from the location where the crime was committed. The answer to question 222 is B. The witness testified that the accused was not the man seen near the scene of the crime. Question 223. The bad state of the roads in Trinidad is a result of the poor application of asphalt technology and knowledge by the agencies involved in road building and maintenance. A. The roads in Trinidad are bad because the engineers use poor quality asphalt to build them. B. The agencies responsible for road building in Trinidad are improperly using the methods of making asphalt roads. C. The use of poor asphalt instead of concrete is responsible for the bad road conditions in Trinidad. D. The roads in Trinidad are bad because they are made of asphalt, which is difficult to maintain. The answer to question 223 is answer option B. The agencies responsible for road building in Trinidad are improperly using the methods of making asphalt roads. Question 224. Despite displaying a face that belied recent personal injury, the witness confirmed that the attack on him was savage and brutal, and the judge commented that it was a most ghastly attack. A. The witness who said that he was brutally attacked was so clearly lying that the judge remarked that he must have been attacked by a ghost. B. Although one could not tell from his appearance, the witness maintained that he had suffered a vicious attack, and the judge indicated his agreement with this statement. C. The judge showed his bias by supporting the witness who said that he was brutally attacked, even though his face showed that he was not telling the truth. D. In spite of the fact that the witness testified that he was brutally and savagely beaten, his face was completely unmarked, and the judge was skeptical about his evidence. The answer to question 224 is answer option B. Although one could not tell from his appearance, the witness maintained that he had suffered a vicious attack, and the judge indicated his agreement with this statement. Question 225. When James returned from New York, his accent had changed, although he was there for only 3 months. A. For 3 months, James changed his accent when he returned from New York. B. James changed his accent when he returned from New York because he was only there for 3 months. C. Despite being in New York for only 3 months, James's accent had changed upon his return. D. James's accent had not changed for 3 months, although he had returned from New York. The answer to question 225 is answer option C. Despite being in New York for only 3 months, James's accent had changed upon his return. Question 226. Although you have the right to dissent, you have to be careful that you do not disregard the established rules and regulations, or you may be expelled. A. You will be expelled whenever you show disregard for established rules and regulations, although you are right to dissent. B. When you dissent and show disregards for established rules and regulations, you may be expelled. C. Showing disregard for established rules and regulations when you dissent will cause you to be expelled. D. You can disagree, but you have to be cautious not to flout established rules and regulations, or it may bring about your expulsion. The answer to question 226 is answer option D. You can disagree, but you have to be cautious not to flout established rules and regulations, or it may bring about your expulsion. Question 227. You had become tardy in your preparations for your examination during the last 2 months, so you must burn the candle at both ends during this week if you want to succeed. A. Since you have not done much preparations for your examinations during the last 2 months, this week you must work doubly hard if you want to succeed. B. During this week, if you want to succeed, you must burn 2 candles in preparing for your examination since you were tardy during the last 2 months. C. If you want to pass your examination during this week, you must work doubly hard since you were tardy during the last 2 months. D. If the candles are not burnt at both ends, as you prepare for your examinations this week, you will fail because you have been tardy during the last 2 months. The answer to question 227 is answer option A. Since you have not done much preparations for your examinations during the last 2 months, this week you must work doubly hard if you want to succeed. Question 228. It took the construction firm nearly 3 years to complete the new highway because of the uneven terrain and consistent inclement weather. A. Because of the uneven ground and very bad weather, the firm took over 3 years to complete the new highway. B. The construction firm took 3 years to finish the new highway because of the uneven ground and very bad weather. C. The new highway was finished in just under 3 years because the construction firm was faced with uneven ground and regular bad weather. D. For nearly 3 years, the construction firm encountered uneven grounds and consistently bad weather when they tried to complete the new highway. The answer to 228 is answer option C. The new highway was finished in just under 3 years because the construction firm was faced with uneven ground and regular bad weather. Question 229. The minister said that the members of the opposition had acted very irresponsibly because they were not in full possession of the facts and were constantly misleading the people. A. The minister was accused by an irresponsible member of the opposition of not having full knowledge of the facts and misleading the people. B. The minister accused the opposition of irresponsible action because of their lack of knowledge and their persistent misleading of the people. C. Not only did the minister say that the opposition was irresponsible, but that they were also ignorant and misleading the people. D. It was the uninformed opinion of the opposition that caused the minister to accuse them of acting irresponsibly and constantly misleading the people. The answer to question 229 is answer option B. The minister accused the opposition of irresponsible action because of their lack of knowledge and their persistent misleading of the people. Question 230. The budget speech was undoubtedly one of the briefest in years. A. The budget speech was without a doubt a very brief one. B. The budget speech was among the briefest we have had for a long time. C. For a long time, the budget speeches have been too long. D. This year, the budget speech was better than all others. The answer to question 230 is answer option B. The budget speech was among the briefest we have had for a long time. Question 231. His books are interesting and provocative. A. His books are most exciting. B. His books tend to make the reader angry. C. His books are appealing and stimulating. D. His books are concerned with trivial topics. The answer to question 231 is answer option C. His books are appealing and stimulating. Question 232. Mary still wanted to marry John even though he had lost all his money. A. Mary agreed to marry John although he had lost all his money. B. The loss of John's money did not affect Mary's wish to marry him. C. John's money did not matter to Mary, who still wanted to marry him. D. Mary intended to marry John, even if he were to lose all his money. The answer to question 232 is answer option B. The loss of John's money did not affect Mary's wish to marry him. Question 233. No right-thinking person who has lived in the country will fail to understand my disgust at noise. A. Every right-thinking person will understand my disgust at noise in the country. B. Noise in the country is as disgusting to me as it is to all right-thinking person who has lived in the country. C. My disgust at noise will be understood by any right-thinking person who has lived in the country. D. It is inconceivable that a right-thinking person in the country could fail to understand my disgust at noise. The answer to question 233 is answer option C. My disgust at noise will be understood by any right-thinking person who has lived in the country. Question 234. After the football match that Trinity High School won, there was much jubilation among supporters, but a dozen fans were injured. A. A dozen fans were injured during the celebrations after Trinity High School won the football match. B. Trinity High School won the football match, but dozen fans were injured during the chaos that followed. C. Although Trinity High School won the football match, jubilant fans injured a dozen supporters. D. Trinity High School won the football match, causing jubilant supporters to injure a dozen fans. The answer to question 234 is answer option A. A dozen fans were injured during the celebrations after Trinity High School won the football match. Question 235. The government's newfound wealth, oil, became the salvation of the country's economy. A. The economic benefits gained from the new oil discovery enabled the government to save the nation's economy. B. The discovery of oil by the government added greatly to the profitable mineral resources of the country. C. The oil helped the government to increase its economic benefits to the nation. D. The now rich government enabled the economy to prosper by selling oil to non-producing nations. The answer to question 235 is answer option A. The economic benefits gained from the new oil discovery enabled the government to save the nation's economy. Question 236. The Europeans who were not well off were those who came to the West Indies in search of wealth. Europeans settled in the West Indies because they were told that they would become richer. B. Unemployment at home caused Europeans to come to the West Indies to seek their fortune. C. Financial difficulties at home made Europeans who came to the West Indies decide to settle there. D. Europeans who came to the West Indies to seek their fortunes were the ones who were not wealthy. The answer to question 236 is answer option D. Europeans who came to the West Indies to see their fortunes were the ones who were not wealthy. Question 237. The people in the market were as varied and curious as the wares they offered for sale. A. The people in the market were curious about the variety of goods offered for sale. B. The people in the market selling the various and unusual wares were of many races. C. A large variety of curious were offered for sale in the market to many different people. D. The wares for sale in the market were as different and as strange as the people selling them. The answer to question 237 is answer option D. The wares for sale in the market were as different and as strange as the people selling them. Question 238. Cigarettes have been linked to lung cancer and, strangely enough, so has bacon. A. It is strange that bacon, quite unlike cigarettes, is linked to lung cancer. B. It is rather peculiar that bacon, like cigarettes, is connected with lung cancer. C. It is no wonder that both cigarettes and bacon are linked to lung cancer. D. Cancer of the lungs, cigarettes, and strangely enough, bacon. The answer to question 238 is answer option B. It is rather peculiar that bacon, like cigarettes, is connected with lung cancer. Question 239. At one time or another, every one of us succumbs to the common cold. A. Some of us are sure to catch the cold. B. Very few of us will ever catch the cold. C. All of us eventually will contract the cold. D. All of us will be able to resist the cold eventually. The answer to question 239 is answer option C. All of us eventually will contract the cold. Question 240. The news shocked me so much that I almost forgot what I wanted to say. A. The news was so shocking that I could not move. B. I could hardly remember my message after such shocking news. C. I nearly didn't speak again after the shock of the news. D. I was so shocked by the news that I could hardly speak. The answer to question 240 is answer option B. I could hardly remember my message after such shocking news. Question 241. The West Indies could have won the match if Lara hadn't fallen ill suddenly. A. The West Indies lost the match because Lara was suddenly ill. B. If Lara hadn't suddenly fallen ill, there was a possibility that the West Indies would have won the match. C. Lara caused the West Indies to lose the match because he suddenly became ill. D. There was no likelihood that the West Indies would have won the test match if Lara was ill. The answer to question 241 is answer option B. If Lara hadn't suddenly fallen ill, there was a possibility that the West Indies would have won the test match. Question 242. If students' efforts are rewarded, they would be encouraged to work harder. A. Students must be encouraged to work hard. B. If students work harder, they will be praised for their effort. C. Students whose efforts are compensated generally work better. D. If students are praised for their efforts, they usually work harder. The answer to question 242 is answer option D. If students are praised for their efforts, they usually work harder. Question 243. The result of the flooding was some financial loss to those farmers whose crops were destroyed. A. The flood destroyed crops and caused some farmers to lose money. B. After the flood, all the farmers suffered financially because of the destruction of their crops. C. When the flooding was over, the financial destruction of the farmers and their crops was evident. D. The financial loss which the farmers suffered was not helped by the flood, which subsequently destroyed their crops. The answer to question 243 is answer option A. The flood destroyed crops and caused some farmers to lose money. Question 244, the final question in our equivalent sentences section. The accident was due to the wetness of the road and not necessarily to careless driving. A. Because the road was wet and the driver unnecessarily careless, the accident occurred. B. The accident was caused more by the wet road than the driver's unnecessary carelessness. C. Careless driving had nothing to do with the accident which occurred on the wet road. D. The driver was involved in the accident, not necessarily because he was careless, but because the road was wet. The answer to question 244 is answer option D. The driver was involved in the accident not necessarily because he was careless, but because the road was wet. So there you have it, up to 224 from 205 questions, equivalent sentences style from past CSEC discrete items sections. Now it's time for construction shift or sentence reconstruction. The instructions say, revise each of the following sentences according to the directions that follow it. You may delete or include words, but do not change the meaning of the original sentence. Look at the options A, B, C, or D for the word or phrase that must be included in your revised sentence. Question 245. People from crowded nations cannot get over the accessibility of Canada's natural environment in all of its magnificence. Begin the sentence with, it is impossible for A, to be over, B, to get over, C, to have got over, or D, to getting over. The answer to question 245 is answer option B, to get over. Question 246. If Charlie invites me, I will go to his party. Begin the sentence with, would Charlie to invite me? A, I would go. B, I will have gone. C, I would have gone. D, I would have been. The answer to question 246 is answer option C, I would have gone. 247. The heavy rains prevented us from attending the program. Begin the sentence with, we were prevented. A, because of. B, in addition. C, since. D, in spite of. The answer to question 247 is answer option A, because of. Question 248. The cricket match ended abruptly when many of the spectators stormed the field. Begin the sentence with, many of the spectators stormed. A, so. B, but. C, getting. D, prevented. The answer to question 248 is answer option A, so. Question 249. On learning of the impending hurricane, many persons rushed to the supermarket. Begin the sentence with, many persons rushed. A, so they learned. B, but they learned. C, when they learned. D, for they were learning. The answer to question 249 is answer option C, when they learned. Question 250. In your travels, you will meet people of different cultures. Begin the sentence with, your travels. A, expose you to. B, submit you to. C, burdened with. D, be invited along with. The answer to question 250 is answer option A, expose you to. Question 251. During my time at school, I was involved in extracurricular activities. Begin the sentence with, I was involved in. A, on staying. B, while I was. C, for my stay. D, when staying. The answer to question 251 is answer option B, while I was. Question 252. Given that the teacher had made final arrangements, they were very annoyed when only a few students showed up for the field trip. Begin the sentence with, since the final arrangements. A, was made. B, were making. C, had been made. D, were being made. The answer to question 252 is C, had been made. Question 253. More is experienced in one day of the life of a learned man than an ignorant man experiences in his whole lifetime. Begin the sentence with a learned man. A, experiences more in one day. B, more experienced in one day. C, experienced more in one day. D, has more experience in one day. The answer to question 253 is answer option A, experiences more in one day. Question 254. The accident caused a lot of traffic on the highway, so we found an alternative route. Substitute so much for a lot of. A, that we. B, when we. C, because we. D, eventually we. The answer to question 254 is answer option A, that we. Question 255. The masqueraders who were jumping to the rhythm of the steel band music became very exhausted after a while and had to go home early. Substitute so for very. A, and consequently they. B, and they. C, for they. D, that they. The answer to question 255 is answer option D, that they. Question 256. Intending to declare the innings closed, the captain told his bowlers to conserve their energy. Begin the sentence with, I intend to declare the innings closed, the captain said. A, so conserve your energy. B, and their energy should be conserved. C, because they should conserve their energy. D, if your energy should be conserved. The answer to question 256 is answer option A, so conserve your energy. Question 257. She found that even after she had made several attempts to regulate the sprinkler, that the water was still reaching the furniture on the veranda. Begin the sentence with having made. A, she found that. B, she had found that. C, she was finding that. D, and finding that. The answer to question 257 is answer option A, she found that. Question 258. The Australian cricketers fought valiantly against the West Indies team, but all their efforts were in vain. Begin the sentence with, despite their valiant efforts. A, would defeat. B, were defeated. C, defeated. And D, would be defeated. The answer to question 258 is answer option B, were defeated. Question 259. She told her parents a lie in order to escape punishment. Substitute in order that for in order to. A, she might escape. B, she escape. C, she escape. There seems to be a typo here. D, She will escape. Question 259. The answer is answer option A. She might escape. Question 260. The lights were green, so we drove straight through the intersection. Delete so from the sentence. A. When the lights were. B. While the lights were. C. As the lights were. D. If the lights were. The answer to question 260 is answer option C, as the lights were. Question 261. The manager opened the door and 3 burglars stood at the entrance. Substitute standing for stood. A. And had seen 3. B. And having seen. C. And saw 3. D. And seeing 3. The answer to question 261 is answer option C, and saw 3. Question 262. Many community groups have had their self-help projects approved by the government. Substitute many community groups with one community group. A. Have had it ones. B. Has had their. C. Will have their. D. Has had its. The answer to question 262 is answer option D, has had its. I decided not to attend the function, although I had made all the arrangements to attend. Begin the sentence with, despite making. A. I had decided. B. I couldn't decide. C. I decided. D. I tried to decide. The answer to question 263 is answer option C, I decided. Question 264. The students were so very demanding in their request that the teacher had no choice but to concede. Delete so from the sentence. A. The teacher had to. B. That the teacher was going to. C. The teacher had but to. D. And the teacher had. The answer to question 264 is answer option D, and the teacher had. Question 265. As soon as Mark entered the room, he was given the test paper. Begin the sentence with on entering. A. The boy was given. B. Mark was given. C. Mark gave. D. The boy had given. The answer to question 265 is answer option B. Mark was given. And the final question of our 250 plus discrete items questions compiled by yours truly, an arduous task if ever there was one. Question 266. It's going to be all right, Mom assured me. Begin the sentence with, Mom assured me that A. There. B. It was. C. Simply. D. Only just. The answer to question 266 is answer option B. It was. There you have it. 266 discrete items questions. If you've made it this far, pay the cover charge by liking the video or share it with a friend. I'm looking forward to presenting you with other CSEC Past Paper 1 questions, especially the poetry reading comprehension, prose, fiction, and non-fiction comprehension, and of course, the graphic comprehension as well. So join me for future videos. Bye for now.